Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another Divorce and Relationships Decoded Question of the Week. I am one of your hosts, Jennifer Perri. I am a CDC certified divorce coach, and I am joined by my friend, Dr. Deborah Wilder, who is a divorce and relationship specialist. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. We have a great question today, and I want to unpack the question a little bit, and then we'll dive into the best way to answer it. Ladies going through a very amicable divorce, and they have a daughter who's 15. And for convenience reasons, she's choosing to live with her dad. It's really bothering the mom. The dad is very supportive, making sure this is exactly what she wanted, being very caring for this particular listener. But she's just really struggling with it. And I just wanted to come on and share that question here because I think if you're a parent and you may be facing this, or it could be a worry for you, how to address that. So that is our question of the week. Amicable divorce for convenience reasons. The daughter's choosing to live with the dad. Mom's upset. What thoughts do you have around that?
A couple. First of all, it's great that it's amicable.
Absolutely.
And it's wonderful that the child feels comfortable enough to say, it's not that I prefer. It doesn't sound like it's a preference for
Not
parents
at all.
as much as convenience. Yes, as you said, like school or friends or things like that. Which again, we need to put our children's needs first. And it sounds like both parents are. And the woman who asked the question is struggling a little bit, maybe because she had been the primary parent. And it's really hard to now not have as much of a role. It's hard enough as it is with divorce when you don't see your child every day, but now it's going to be possibly even less time. And now, the dad's going to have more time with this child who's developing she's a teenager and she's becoming a young adult and things like that. So I can understand why the mother would be upset in some ways, a little concerned or sad about not being with this child every day or more often. I think there's also another component. I don't know if she's thought about this too, or if there's I guess societal norms. It's typical that, I'm just saying, I think we can all agree, it's usually the mother, if anybody has more time with the kids, it's usually the mother, or 50-50, let's just say. So I don't know if she's struggling because she's thinking, I'm the mom, what are people going to think? What are people going to think that this child is spending more time with the dad, or chose to live with, or is living with the father as the primary parent, and I'm not the primary. So maybe she's worried about that. I don't know. Or she's just sad because she's not going to be able to see her child as much. And so she might be a little bit envious and there are a lot of, when the tables are turned, there are a lot of, let's say, dads who are envious of the other parent because, again, they're not going to have as much time with the kids. It could be that as well, really just the sadness. Even though it's best for the child, let's say, and it's convenient, it's rubbing her the wrong way. So I'm curious what your thoughts are about that, because there's the societal norm, and that might be part of it. There's the fact that she's sad because she's not going to see her child as much. Dad's going to have the benefit of being with her more and more involved. And maybe she's worried about not being as close to her daughter as she's been and missing out on all sorts of things. And so I can understand why there's some deep feelings there. What do you think?
I never even thought about her thinking what other people would say. And that's awful that we live in a society where we have to worry about that. Oh, what do you mean you don't have your daughter doesn't live with you? That's awful that we would have to even think about something like that, but it's real. It's a real thing. And I've just been encouraging, this is time where you get to spend a little more time with you. Understanding you just went through this divorce, although it was amicable. Your identity's been a mom, your identity's been a wife. Getting back to, who are you? What do I want in my life moving forward? Now, part of it too is the daughter's going to be hopefully driving in a year, and we'll be able to move back and forth. And it's probably one of the most wonderful examples I think I have ever witnessed of an amicable divorce. It still doesn't make it any easier. I think it's just the different routine. Coming down and you see your daughter every morning, or you come home and your daughter's there, you go out and you do this. Just redirecting and looking at, this is some time that you can spend with the most important person in your life, which should be you. I think there are parents who are dealing with a very different situation where another parent has poisoned the well, and I'm going and staying with dad because of dad saying this and this. So you have that type of situation as well too. What advice would you give someone if, whether it's an amicable situation or one that's more of a not so amicable, what advice would you give them if they're really struggling with letting this situation go or letting your children go?
That's if that's the reality, that's the reality. And making the best of the time that you do have, and maybe if there are opportunities to even spend more time here or there, take advantage of every opportunity that you have to keep this relationship, build a relationship with the child, and support the other parent as well. Make sure you don't put the child in a position of feeling guilty. And I think that happens quite often, where a parent says things to the child or to the kids, and the kids feel guilty, maybe about some of their preferences or choices. So just do whatever you can as a parent to nurture that relationship with the child. And you brought something else up that it's important too. Another way to look at it is you'll have more time to yourself as a parent. What's interesting is there's guilt around that too, because a lot of times parents, let's say newly divorced parents, might say, how I feel guilty because I'm enjoying time without my child. I feel guilty because
I don't feel guilty for enjoying time without my children. I'll just tell you straight up. I don't.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. But there are some
Sure.
who do. And I don't either. My kids are all in their 20s now, but I do
Mhm.
miss them when I don't see them. But it's different. It's different when they were little. But that's a challenge too. It's an adjustment too, because parents like, what? I shouldn't. I miss my child. I want to be with my child, but boy, this feels so good to be able to sleep in, or just to do this, that, or the other, not to have to bring the kids to the grocery store with me or whatever, or to go out with a friend or whatever it is. So that's an adjustment too, to deal with guilt around enjoying time without the kids. But really just always put the kids' needs in front and reinforce to the child that even though she's living with her dad, that you're always there. You still want to be that parent who's involved and who's there for the children and help them feel as secure as they can feel. But I know that's not always easy, especially now if it's amicable, like this woman's divorce, that's fantastic. Fantastic. But if it's not, that's a challenge too. But just put the kids first, and whatever you can do to create the best relationship with the kids that you can, that's really number one priority. Do whatever you can with the time that you have. Respect the other parent's time if you can, if unless there's danger or some issues there. But do whatever you can to nurture that relationship with the child or with the children.
I also think too, it depends on the age, because as a child of divorce, and as I've seen quite a few of my clients who have children that are older, I think sometimes we think our children are worrying about things that they're really not worrying about. Because I can tell you for myself, it was long overdue for my parents. And I watched my mom struggle with a lot of things, but it happened during my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what does that mean for me? Seriously. In this situation, the daughter, for convenience to her school, to her friend group, to different things, it was more convenient for her to be there. So I think sometimes we not only have our own fear and stress, but we add on the stress that we think our children may be experiencing. And in some cases, they're not. They want to be closer to what's going on in their life, and they're just being a little selfish, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of what we
Yeah.
all go through, and we do. So I think too, in some situations we may be worrying about things that it really just is, this is more convenient, this is what makes sense for my life, and realizing, hey, this isn't somebody picking one over the other. I think at least in this situation, she's 15, she wants to be closer to where her friends are and all. So I think there is, as a parent and as a child of divorce, knowing that when we're older, we're really worried about us. Like, we want to make sure our mom and dad are okay. We want to know they're okay and that they're safe, but we're living our life too. I think sometimes we can compound our own stress by worrying about things that other people may not even be thinking about.
I agree with you. That's true. Very true.
I appreciate this question. I appreciate the
Mhm.
conversation that has come from it. I think it is just amazing, and we should all strive to have amicable breakdowns of any relationship, whether it's a marriage or a partnership or a friendship, making sure that you are trying to take the high road and walk away from it and be an example for your children is always important. But I always appreciate having these conversations with you.
I do
And
too.
I hope those of you who are listening realize that no matter what it is that you're navigating in a divorce or a relationship or anywhere in between, you have us right here to answer your questions. So make sure that you are sending them to questions@drdecoded.com. And who knows, maybe it'll blossom into a topic. Some of our questions have done that. So thank you so much, my friend, for being here. And as always, I always appreciate your wisdom and insight.
Likewise, always.
We'll be back again next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.